Welcome back. About 12 million immigrants are living in the United States illegally. President Barack Obama has warned that the narrow window for passing immigration reform this year is quickly closing and may not even happen if Congress doesn't act soon. Take a look at the issues the current U.S. immigration system presents. These are the reasons put forth by the White House. It is harder for law enforcement to know when dangerous people cross the borders. Large segments of the community are afraid to report crimes or serve as witnesses because they fear the consequences for themselves or their families. It's harder for business owners who play by the rules to compete when they're undercut by those who would exploit workers in a shadow economy. And it's harder for the government to create social opportunities in places where taxes are being paid. But others disagree. For a closer look at immigration reform, I'm joined by Hector Sanchez from the Labor Council for Latin American Advancement. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for the invitation.
You know, this debate has been going on for years now. President Obama is now in his second term. Why is Congress having such a hard time even considering this?
There shouldn't be any problems considering this issue. We have reports on the right and on the left showing the important and positive impact of immigration reform in the nation. We need to stop playing political games, especially the Republicans in the House. They need to understand that there are going to be political implications, not only in the midterms, but in the presidential elections. So one side is Congress, that they need to act fast on immigration reform. The other element, and very critical element, is the president. The president has a critical obsession with deportations. This year, we're going to have 2 million people deported in the nation, more than any president in the history of the nation. And this is having a devastating impact in one community in particular, the Latino community. 97% of all the people that have been deported are Latinos. And this is really having a horrible impact in our schools, horrible impact in our community, horrible impact on the daily life, not only of immigrants, but of the Latino community overall.
Let's talk about deportations, because this is something that Barack Obama talked about when he first ran for president. He was very much for immigration reform, but he has had a record number of deportations even since his predecessor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's this concept of enforcement-only policies. If we see in the one hand the anti-immigrant extremism from the Republicans and all these anti-immigrant pieces of legislation in a number of states, almost all over the nation, and then we have this enforcement on behalf of the president, is really creating a unique negative element on the ground that as a community, as a coalition, we're saying enough is enough. The president must act and must act soon. He has the executive authority to do something. He showed that he has that authority with the Fair Action for what we call the Dreamers, young students that are here in the nation with undocumented. He has the capacity to do something, maybe that focuses on the parents of the Dreamers or that mirrors what the Senate is already approved. So there are a lot of possibilities, so we're targeting both. As a community and as a coalition, we're going to focus on 30 Republican congressional districts moving forward. We've been doing a lot of work last year focusing on all over the nation. So we're calling on the Republicans and on the president. It's not one or the other. Both can do something immediately.
But it sounds like President Obama is saying all the right things. He's calling for Congress to act. So what is the holdup? Because it seems that both sides recognize the Latino community is instrumental. It's growing. They'll have a big voice in the next elections. Why isn't anything being done?
Obviously, the priority is Congress. And we've been doing a lot of work from every single angle to have a piece of legislation that moves forward in Congress. It passed the Senate. But I think there are a lot of political games, and the Latino community is suffering the negative elements of these political games. So before the midterm elections, there are going to be serious political repercussions. We as a coalition and all the Latino organizations that do voter registration, voter mobilization, voter education, GOTV, we're really informing our Latino community or Latino voters about the positions of all their representatives on a number of issues, but immigration reform. So the window is closing. There is still time to get this done. We're really communicating this to Republicans and to the president very strongly.
Is that realistic, though? Do you think something can really happen in the next year and a half? And do you think that this could create some sort of example or pathway for other people from other countries trying to immigrate to the United States?
Well, we need to understand what is happening. 11 million undocumented workers in the most powerful nation in the world is not a mistake. It's public policy. And this nation is addicted to this cheap labor coming from mostly from Mexico and Central America. So we need to understand the political implications of that. And the nation needs to recognize if entire sectors of the economy are addicted to this cheap, disposable kind of labor, we need to give them full rights. We need to respect their labor rights, their human rights, and their civil rights.
All right, Hector Sanchez, we appreciate your time and your perspective. Thank you so much for joining us here on the show.
Thanks for the invitation.
Coming up.
Using rain to solve the water crisis in Mexico City.
Isla Rana is a project that's dedicated to promoting and really pushing rainwater harvesting forward in Mexico.
America's Next.